That store easily had the most amount of bottles that I've just never even heard of anymore, and a pretty wild selection.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Whiskey. Today I am heading to Ocean Springs, Mississippi, right up the road. We're gonna go do some bourbon hunting.
All right, I made it to the first stop, Government Street Liquor and Wine. Mississippi has been difficult to me so far when it comes to bourbon hunting, but I want to give a thank you to one of the subscribers, reached out via email, sent me a text, basically recommending a bunch of stores to me, some that might let me film, some that might not. But he mentioned this place, and they were interested in me coming already. So this was pretty much an easy setup. I don't really have to ask permission anymore. That's been done. Let's go inside and see what they got. Again, this is Government Street Liquor and Wine. Kind of like in the middle of a neighborhood. It's pretty cool. All right, so made it inside Government Street Liquor and Wine. Pretty cool little spot. Lots of wine in the center, and then this entire shelf, for the most part, is all gonna be bourbons and ryes. And we'll go through and talk about some of those. Start up top here, some of the ryes. They got Crittenden's Cut Above, some Redwood, Emerald Giant, Old Soul, out of Mississippi as well, I believe. Cathead Distillery, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Cathead Distillery in Jackson, Mississippi. It is $45.99 for that one. Another thing, look, I probably don't really say it enough, and I think it's really cool that distillery does this, because most of the times, almost every time actually, when distilleries put something out on the shelf, and it's just their standard offering, you could pretty much find it anywhere you go. It's more than likely gonna be a small batch. However, with Michter's, so $47.99, all of the Michter's are single barrels, every single one of them, when it comes to rye only. The rest of them, like your sour mash, the American whiskey, those are batches, but the rye in particular is single barrel. So I think that's pretty neat and pretty cool, and not something that you see every day at all. Perfect example, Ragged Branch, $62.99 right here, batch 2. So you're gonna mostly get batches on almost everything else. I just find it so cool that Michter's does single barrels. Starlight, I know in the last video I said Starlight is a distillery that I want to start trying more. I don't see the price on that one here, but pretty much everything in here is very close, if not MSRP. So this is the Double Oaked Rye. I did get to try a store pick that did a maple, and it was phenomenal. I just wasn't really in the mood to drop $100. Hemingway Rye, Old Elk Wheaten Rye. Let's see. Here's one I haven't seen before. $58.99 Charbay Whiskey, double and twisted. One distiller, one still, double alembic pot still. It's pot stilled. Not that crazy over most pot still stuff. 90 proof, distilled and bottled by. So they're out of California, 90 proof, craft distillery. I've literally never seen that in any store that I've been to before. Pretty neat. I wonder what the story is on that and how they got that one here. We're just talking about the Michter Sour Mash. Got the Michter Small Batch Bourbon. Right here, those are the prices on that. Maker's Mark, cash strengths for $46.99. Very solid price for that bottle. I'm a fan. Ragged Branch Wheated Bourbon Double Oaked, $62.99 right there. I don't know if this is the one that I tried in one of my previous hunts, but it won gold at the World Spirits Competition. It is 90 proof, so Double Oak 90 proof, distilled, aged, and bottled by Ragged Branch out of Virginia, making their own stuff. Got the Russell's Reserve 10 single barrel. This is my question though, out of these three, you got $78.99, $57.99, $46.99. This is their Indiana Straight Bourbon Whiskey, 92 proof. Right here. This one's the Bottled and Bond, and this is the Double Oak from Starlight. Out of these three, the one that personally catches my eye is the Double Oak, but which one is the best from your experience? Let me know down below. Last thing I'll show you too real quick before we head out is behind the counter here, or a little off to the side, anyone can kind of walk up to it, is a little bit more of their specialty stuff. So you got Crittenden's Tokai, which is amazing, $65.99 for that one. That's one of my favorite Tokai finishes. And then this one recently, I was at the distillery last week. I went, stopped in at the distillery and pretty much tried everything he had that day. But this is one that I've seen in a few stores, even near me in Louisiana, and have always passed up for, I don't know why, whatever reason. I tried it. This is one of my favorite ones from the Crittenden's distillery. This is the Persimmon wood, but it's finished in wine barrels. So the story goes, I believe Matt Crittenden had a persimmon wood tree that fell on his property. They then took that, toasted some of the staves, put it in the barrel, and this is what they came up with. And it's a 5-year-old whiskey. It's so good. I'm a big fan. Got a couple of K-Lukes. That's a batch 3 toasted and batch 10 bourbon. And then up here, Elijah Craig toasted. That looks like barrel proof A125, and then $175.99 for Elijah Craig 18 as well. All right, just left Government Street Liquor and Wine. Let's talk about what we got. I made it a point. I told myself if I see it again after trying it, I was gonna buy it. Went home with this so far. This is the bourbon whiskey finished in wine barrels, but it's the Persimmon wood, 5-year bourbon. It is so good. That was a cool little store, man. Like a neighborhood store right outside of a neighborhood. It's not off of really the main road or main strip. Again, thank you. You know who you are for recommending me to come to this place. Awesome management, awesome ownership. That was very nice and refreshing compared to what Mississippi has been so far, man. It's been tough, but goal is to go find at least one more spot before the end of this bourbon hunt. We'll see you at the next one. All right, made it to the next stop right up the road. This is Ocean Liquor and Wine. We'll go inside, see if they'll let us film. Just made it inside the store, and I gotta say, this is one of the most beautiful things to see as a bourbon hunter. They got some nice lighting, I'm pretty sure, that goes down all the shelves, but take a look at this. Pretty much from where I'm standing all the way down, it's gonna be some whiskey selection. And then we got a lot to talk about in these cases right here. Without further ado, let's get right to it. That's probably the most Oak and Eden that I've ever seen in a single store. Can't really see the price tags on most of them, but I'm sure you can if I hold it up this high. Some Clyde Mays next to some Old Granddad. 114 right here. 3-chord, look. We saw this in one of the last stores too. DeSoto Liquor and Wine. This is a single barrel 3-chord, $61.99 right there. And it is, there's the mash bill. Oh, that's pretty cool. 119 proof, sweet. Maker's 46 cash strength for $69 right there. Right behind it, almost a slam dunk too of it. That's pretty cool. Green River, looks like they just have the bourbon, $36.99 for that one. There's foolproof right there. Haven't seen foolproof yet. Normally just single barrel in Mississippi, so $25 for foolproof. Very solid. That's the lights right there. See them? Looks really good on the whole entire shelf. I want to do something like that in my house. A couple of the Starlight offerings. There's that bottled and bond again right there. Yellowstone, this is a pick, I believe. Haven't been too crazy over the Yellowstone stuff, but $60, 115 proof if you're looking. Looks like they just got one left right now. Bullett's new bottled and bond, $57. I know I've talked about it before, but I'm a big fan of that bottled and bond, man. It's a competitor for some of my favorite bottled and bond. Couple Gypsy picks here. Still have no clue what this is. Let me read into it a little bit more. I'll grab the 103 proof. The first time I saw this was in Florida, and I was curious about it. I do like the bottle look. Gypsy, driven by discovery, 103 proof, straight bourbon, finished in French oak and Appalachian oak staves. And it is distilled in Kentucky and Indiana, finished and blended by Gypsy in Nashville. I thought this might be Eric Church's. Could be wrong though. If you know, let me know. I did run into one store. They're not gonna let me film. Their owners are out of town, but they are the first and only store I saw, and I did get a little taste of it today, but they do have, not this one in particular is not, but they do have the Heaven Hill single barrel picks, the bottled and bond single barrels, and it was pretty good. Just picked that one up in the last spot, cut above Persimmon wood. He's also got Mothman. It's got this one right here, finished in cherry, Tokai, pecan. This one is Tawny Port and Laura. How cool is that? And this one, I wonder what these were. I would bet maybe Wampus Cat one of these, but good selection of Crittenden's and a lot of the pecan back here. Look, pretty much a whole case worth of that. So a couple of subscribers actually were the ones that recommended I come check this place out. They let me know they have a pretty solid selection and a lot to offer in the case. And there is a lot in the case that we'll go and talk about now. I'm gonna start on this side. Look at this, how cool that setup is. Really cool glass case. All right, here we go. The first time I've seen Bywater and Whiskey Tree in Mississippi. $83 for the weeded, that's my favorite right there. It's got Penelope, that's some Rios right there, $249. Penelope weeded right there. Rosé cask, some Uncle Nearest stuff right here. Let's see, next. Old Elk, Whistle Pig, a lot of Whistle Pig. That whole bottom shelf is pretty much all Whistle Pig. It's got a couple of K-Luke. That's the first time I've seen this one. Wild Turkey 8-year. I haven't seen that on the shelves at all yet. $55.99. Now, I haven't really heard mixed reviews, but majority of what I'm hearing is the 70th anniversary, which was the 8-year that Wild Turkey released last year, is actually a little bit better than the 8-year that came out this year. So it's gonna be one that I'm gonna wait to try before I buy, but they do have that here, which is the first time I've seen it in Mississippi or anywhere. Got some Remus, there's the Gatsby right there, Horse Soldier stuff at the bottom. Peerless Double Oaked for $99.99. Then right next to it, the Toasted for $111. Have both of these at home, both phenomenal. This Double Oak, man, is just so hard to beat. That's the new Babe Ruth from Remus. I got sent this bottle, and when I get back, that is waiting for me to crack. I am very excited to try this, especially as a huge Yankees fan. That's gonna be fun. Rebel, $189. Blanton's, $200, right there. Got some Bookers right here, 2404, and then that's the little book. Man, this is just everywhere, that 2404, pretty crazy. Larceny, some Bardstown stuff, McKenna 10-year. Regular Buffalo Trace is actually allocated in the state of Mississippi from what I was told. I guess it just depends on the store, but some stores only get like a few cases a year, maybe 6 cases max of Buffalo Trace. It's pretty wild. A lot of the Old Soul stuff, I hear these two are pretty good. I'm just not sure which one, but Mississippi brand, so all Old Soul right there. High West, got a couple High West products, but this is pretty neat. The High West special offerings, they got Prisoner Share, Midwinter Night's Dram, and the Boo Rye. Love this one, absolutely love this one. The Prisoner Share and Boo Rye are very, very good. High West was actually kind enough to send me the Boo Rye and the Prisoner Share, and they're a hit. They're so good. Four Roses Single Barrel, that's the OESK. That's actually the recipe that I really like. Got some Knob Creek 12 for 79 bucks right there. Toasted, you got B5 23, $89.99 for that Elijah Craig. Some 18-year for 400. Small batch select, and then that is the Keeper's Release, $99.99 right there. And a couple of people told me they actually came and bought Russell's 13, but $2.99, and it's gone. All pretty much gone. I'm gonna go to the other side now and just show you the Scotch and maybe some of the tequila offerings that they have too while I'm here. Here you go. If you see something you like, you gotta call it out, because I am not into Scotch like some of you are. Some Lafroig, I know that. Couple of Japanese offerings right there. Glenmorangie, I do have a couple of those at home, and it's actually not bad. The non-peated ones I can get down with. Glenlivet. Pretty much all the little bit rare tequilas all back here. All right, heading out from the second stop today. That was just a crazy amount of whiskey. Like, definitely the most I've seen so far when it comes to selection-wise, the largest. A couple of things behind the glass case were definitely a little bit high in price. I know they're a fairly new store, about a year old is what I was told, so I guess it is what it is, but some of you recommended to come check it out, and I'm glad I did. It's definitely a cool spot, cool to see some of those bottles, but yeah, nothing I couldn't really go home with today. I'm gonna start heading back to military base, see if I can find one more spot. We'll see you there. All right, y'all, made it to the last stop. I have to make it the last stop because check this out. I'm trying to beat this rain that's coming in. It's actually drizzling on the car right now, but this is Fort Bayou Wine and Spirits. So I'm gonna go inside and see what they got. All right, so we got a pretty decent selection from what I can see of bourbons and whiskey and some ryes, and let's go through it, talk about it. This is not bourbon or whiskey, but I've actually never heard of this. It's single grain Irish whiskey. Right next to a couple of Baker's 7 for $72.45 right there. There's a couple of Hirsch bottles, some of the High West offerings right there. They still have a couple of the Kentucky Derby bottles right there of Woodford as well. And these are no different than the regular Woodford Reserve. It's just once a year, these come out with like a special painting or label on them. So I haven't seen that since the Derby. That's pretty cool. Are these Thomas Moores any good? I think I've tried one, but I can't remember which one it is. I do like the bottle. It's pretty cool looking. Got a Joseph Magnus bourbon, $110 for that one right there. Brothers Bond Cash Strength, have that one at home, very solid. Elijah Craig Barrel Proof B524. You know I gotta check these. Looks like they're all Bs. All B524s on these right here. Not something I see every day either. Some Bernheim Barrel Proof for $76.95. Larceny Barrel Proof right there. There's batch 36 of Barrel. And I don't know if I've seen this Chateau Labode before from Bardstown. Hard 7 proof. Blended straight bourbon whiskey finishing Chateau Labode Armagnac. Oh, finishing Armagnac, I probably love that, not gonna lie. And then they have this one as well. Straight bourbon finish in Founders KBS aged stout barrel. So beer barrel finish right there. It's got a couple of Crittendens as well. The Mothman, Tokai, and the Sherry finish as well. And Tokai is $72.95 for that one. That's my favorite out of those three. Middle West Street, that weeded bourbon is so good. I always say it tastes like maple syrup, man. It's really good. What is this? Let's take a look. Holing Station. Straight bourbon whiskey, commissioned in accordance with Old Dominic's. Old Dominic? Is this Old Dominic? Crafted and bottled by Old Dominic. So this might be before they made their whiskey? I'm not sure. Do y'all know? Was this kind of what Old Dominic's thing was before putting it out? Or does it have anything to do with Old Dominic? 100 proof, 42 bucks is not terrible. New Zealand whiskey? What? Double cast New Zealand whiskey. It's a little bottle, age 18 years. What? 80 proof, delicate and floral. 87 bucks though. I mean, I guess because it's 18 years old, but I didn't even know New Zealand made whiskey. If you tried this, or would you try this, let me know down below. Davis County, another one I've just never seen. There's a good bit of stuff in here I've just never even seen before. This too. World's first ocean infused whiskey finished in pine barrels? What? Omiki? Okay, I gotta read this. 44 bucks right here, ocean infused. The ocean is known as the source of life, evergreen pine trees as the symbol of life. Huh, doesn't really say how they do it. That's interesting, I don't know. Got an old bottle of Amrut, it looks like an old one at least. I like Amrut, it's pretty good. Indian single malt. And I know of Amrut because of Bardstown. They did an Amrut finish and it's not up here. Kavalan whiskey, haven't heard of that before. What is that? Taiwanese whiskey. Wow, this store's got some pretty cool, unique stuff. Definitely that I've never seen. That's another Indian single malt too. This is cool. Old Overhaul. I found this on base one time for $9 a bottle. I bought a few of them, they're so good. Looks like this is just kind of some of the rye offerings they got. The Heaven Hill, Rendezvous, Clyde Mays. Such a cool label. Isn't that cool? This looks old school, man. Old Potrero, they switched bottles recently then. This is out of California yeah. Distilled and everything in California, but they definitely switched bottles. I haven't seen that, that's an older one. Lot 40 Senior Canadian whiskey, something I've never seen too. That store easily had the most amount of bottles that I've just never even heard of anymore, and a pretty wild selection. As you can tell, I did not beat the rain though, so I got to sprint to the car, make it back to base. Today, the bottle's in the car, but we did go home with the Crittendens, the Persimmon wood. Went to 3 total stores today. Pretty cool spots. This is Ocean Springs, Mississippi. I got at least 1 or 2 more bourbon hunts that I plan on doing while I'm here doing my time in Mississippi. Thank you guys so much. Make sure you check out some of these stores that we go to. Appreciate our Patreon as always. I will be announcing the next monthly giveaway very soon for Patreon. Make sure you don't miss that. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.